Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Friday, January 26, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card, we are starting our day off with just roaring into it with the Magician. I like this, especially because we ended yesterday on that strength card. Masculine and feminine energy in divine union frequency have been working a lot on amplifying and building confidence. It's all been about building confidence over the last week. Masculine, you've been putting a lot of that confidence in the feminine, acting as a clear mirror for feminine, helping feminine recognize what is and is not true that they may be carrying as it relates to moments and beliefs around self-doubt or self-limiting beliefs. Feminine, you may be recognizing and again reaffirming masculine as they continue forth on their journey, but your own ability right now to execute is almost feeling to a certain extent like masculine is sharing in those same victories. A rising tide raises all ships to a certain extent. And one of the beauties that we're seeing here for the energy in the divine union frequency is this is masculine. If this is masculine seeing feminine coming into that point of fortification of power and confidence, this is masculine feeling like that is a personal victory because that is a path that the masculines almost set themselves out upon throughout this week. So hooray masculine. We're also seeing here that one of the things that's vitally important as well, and something that masculine may have landed upon and realized even as they were doing this work with feminine this week, is this is one of those moments where you're like the transmitted message is also something that you are also receiving. This is work that masculine has realized has amplified their own ability to move and to execute forward right now due to the fact that the ability to articulate this to the feminine almost helped the masculine come into that breakthrough as they were experiencing and sharing it to the feminine. This is masculine taking some of their own advice and being able to utilize it in a way that is also feeling very productive. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. This ability, as I said, we've got dual path work this week. Huge amount of breakthroughs potentially this week for the energy coming into the divine union frequency because it is the combined effort of not only having the breakthrough and benchmark of energy becoming clear, open, potentially even energy from the past, finally being able to come forward in a way that feels like they are ready to co-create by being open and emotionally expressive and revealing what the feminine needs to have revealed to be able to have the clarity and optics to be able to craft together. But we're also seeing that there's a recommitment that came with that in terms of reaffirming that even in the wake of that breakthrough, it's not diverting energy away to where they can take that breakthrough. It is saying, I want to work here. I want to do this work here. So that ability, like I was calling it like this, like, hey, focus, eyes on me kind of energy. That ability to be able to have that breakthrough, but then not get distracted in that moment of breakthrough is now allowing energy to immediately have that emotional connection. That's going to feel like the breakthrough is like between one person and another person. And now it's like our powers combine. Where are we taking this from here? It's that electric shock that you feel of suddenly realizing and recognizing that you're not just building by yourself. You are now building in the energetic connection of someone that is working with you. And what happens when you're working together? Your work gets amplified. You can do the work of more in the same direction because it doesn't feel like you're operating on different fronts. It feels like your effort and energy is going towards what you're creating together. Masculine and feminine, that is in separation. One of the things that we are seeing now, what did I say is potentially happening? I'm going to say there's a lot of new partnership potential opening up this week. A lot of new partnership potential opening up this week, even for energy in separation. Why? Because this is the moment. This was the week that we saw a lot of energy chose their manifestation over their connection. When we move into certain modalities, it is the recognition that in order to move towards your manifestation, you can't just say, I want something. You have to be willing to release something. You have to be able, if you've only got 2 hands, you got to put something down to pick something up. Being able to recognize and say to a certain extent, I desire this person, but not under this context, not under these conditions. I aspire for the connection that I desire, as opposed to the energetic connection that is keeping me in a place or space that is not what I desire. The ability to relinquish, the ability to let go, the ability to release, and say, I am staying committed to the path of what I desire, not trying to force it in a place that it does not exist, is effectively allowing a lot of energy right now to come into their manifestation goal. What did I say is potentially happening right now for a lot of energy and separation? We've got two different energetic fields right now in separation for masculine and feminine. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. We got feminine energy right now that I just told you. They went through a modality where they potentially have someone trying to come towards them, but feminine saying, you can't come towards me unless you're open, until you're willing to build the clarity. I cannot accept this unless you bring it when I'm actually asking instead of what you are offering. We've got masculine that is now in separation, that potentially opened up to a feminine, said, I want to co-create with you. I know that needs to exist in a realm where I am completely honest and truthful for you. So now we've got a bunch of masculines potentially in separation because the feminine was not in a place or space that they could accept the masculine's truth. Masculine said to feminine, this is an impossible situation. You're creating a space where you want me to build a world of illusion around you, and I simply cannot do that. These two energies now are completely in separation, and that means that they can come into connection. These two energies are, these are the connected energies. These are the energies that you need for divine union and separation. The energy that is potentially in separation because of some of this path work still needing to occur. Even now we see that there are breakthroughs happening because this is coming through the gift of self-understanding. Simply put, there's some masculine energy right now that is making the significant recognition point that what the feminine is asking for, that the ability to surrender autonomy, because yes, when we move into divine union, there is a level or degree of self-autonomy that we must surrender in order to come into divine union. There's some masculine energy in separation that's basically saying the price is too high. The price is too high. There's a point of being unwilling to pay that price. But what is important right now for the energy of the masculine that is in that modality? The observation that even as long as you proceed forward and are clear and open to feminine energy that you are in this modality, that even then it allows a level or degree of heightened authenticity. Even this lesson is coming through right now because this is a moment of recognizing for masculine that it isn't your desire to be in autonomy that is the problem here. It is potentially your lack of ability in being authentic in where you are to feminine that may have potentially created a separation point right now. Feminine energy in separation right now. There is a moment and modality that we're potentially seeing again. If this is masculine energy that effectively did bring forward openness and honesty to you, but instead of being able to accept it, it felt like a bridge too far. It felt like something was revealed that felt so antithetical to what you were expecting happen that it almost required you to close out a connection. We are either seeing now that this is feminine energy that is parsing out what that separation moment was. Was that a trigger that was hit in not being able to experience or embrace something that felt like it was emotionally reactive? Or was this something that pushed against a core tenet and belief that you don't feel is something that can move? Feminine energy right now, even in separation, is working on their own manifestation goal to determine and decide where that barometer lies. If this is something that masculine brought forth that raised that trigger, if it feels like it is a valid trigger, or if it's something here that feminine is trying to resolve or reestablish within their own self. Second card in our 5-card spread for today is Knight of Cups, masculine and feminine in the divine union frequency. The ability to co-create together is that sense of, that strength. This is that moment that we see here, and this is why for masculine energy that's in this modality, if this is a masculine energy that has been working with feminine, helping feminine get a better sense of self, building feminine's own confidence to execute right now, this is masculine also feeling that success and victory in seeing feminine in this way, because this is a masculine energy that does not consider any of the victory that occurs in the divine union as separate from themselves. They feel like that embodiment point. They feel like that blending together between one energy and another means your victory is my victory. Your success is my success. This raising tide raises all ships. So seeing a masculine, see a feminine come out of that funk, come out of that point of self-doubt, stand on their own straight, execute against the things that they're trying to execute on. This is masculine giving themselves, like, again, and it feels great because this is masculine continuing to put that energetic encouragement in the feminine. But also, to a certain extent, this is masculine energy going, look what I did. Look what I did. Because again, it's almost the masculine feeling the value and strength of having put that encouragement into the feminine, trying to like coach the feminine into that, and seeing that it's had that impact that they aspired for. Feminine energy, you may be seeing this on the part of a masculine, but again, this doesn't feel patronizing to feminine energy experiencing this right now, because again, this is not feeling like a masculine that is, I have to stress, this isn't a masculine telling the feminine what to do. This is masculine energy that is emotionally supporting feminine as they do what they are good at doing, what they are best at doing, being their highest version of self. So for the energy in the divine union frequency, that feeling of allowing that sense of doing something and knowing that masculine has your back, as it were, as you facilitate and do what you need to do, that is, again, amplifying your own work, because it feels, again, almost like a joint victory. It's a point of success that you're embodying and sharing in the energetic connection. Masculine and feminine, what did I say you needed to do right now in order to stay in this very fragile territory that potentially opened up this week if coming into the divine union frequency? I told you it's a twofold path right now. There are two things that you need to do to continue forward in the divine union frequency. You need to have the breakthrough. You need to open up to each other. That's only half the work. Masculine had to open up to feminine in a way to be able to show them the ability of wanting to co-create with them by giving them full optics on everything that is going on in the masculine's life. Feminine had to hold forth in a place of stoicism and deal with whatever the masculine was bringing forth that may have caused the trepidation in the first place. For the energy that is doing that right now, that point and that ability was good. What are you now doing? You are reaffirming and saying, even through that breakthrough, you just masculine saying to feminine, you gave me something. I can see it. I wish I'd learned this sooner. If I'd learned that with that, if I had done this back then, who knows what would have happened? What's masculine doing? I'm doing it here with you. I am doing this here with you. This is not a masculine that's falling backwards and looking back on their path and figuring out where they're going to put that work in. This is masculine putting that effort and energy right here, focusing with the feminine. This is feminine that's seeing a masculine that's reaffirming to the feminine right now, saying, yes, I've had this breakthrough. Wow. I haven't done it before. I've never been this open before. And I'm glad it's with you. I'm glad it's with you. It's because of you, because of the connection we have. So the energy of feminine feeling that affirmation of not only has the masculine had a breakthrough, but the masculine's not running out the door with it to utilize it somewhere else. This is a masculine that's reaffirming and saying, I'm not going anywhere. Are you kidding me? You just healed me. We just had a breakthrough. We're having this huge healing breakthrough. Why would I go anywhere else? This is feminine feeling the relief of a masculine that's recognizing that they have to energetically put into the space and place of the divine union. You can't just run in and out of the divine union energy like a convenience store to grab what you need and go. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. Love is in the air. This is it. This Leo moon, I'm telling you, I'm not going to be surprised. There's going to be energy this week. People are going to be meeting people. People are going to be meeting people. Because what do we see here? These are two sparks hanging out in the ether. What did I tell you is happening right now in separation? We got the energy of the feminine that's like, I just want a masculine that can open up and be honest and tell me where they are, wants to co-create with me. We got masculine energy just healed that went, geez, I just opened up to this person. I didn't want them to live in an illusion. They couldn't take it. Now I'm in separation. These two energies, they're made for each other. There's healed energy right now floating around in the separation space. And this is beautiful because this is, again, feminine's got what masculine needs. Feminine's like, bring me your honesty. I can work with it. I can handle it. Masculine's like, I want to emotionally open up. I want to be an open book. I want to build this with someone. So we have this energetic potentiality happening right now in separation that's really beautiful. Masculine and feminine that are not yet in this modality, we're even seeing here that if there's masculine energy here that realizes that the door is potentially open and them coming towards a feminine if they're willing to open up. So for the masculine energy right now that's in separation, that's not willing to open up, this is masculine coming to terms and recognizing, being like, I have an inability to open up. I have an inability to open up. It limits my capacity and my ability. But this is almost a masculine energy coming to terms with the fact that, like, you know, lone wolf, like wants to be alone. I'm gonna just me, myself, and I, like masculine energy, feeling that, like, you know, going into that space, potentially some of the masculine energy being like, I like it like this. I value, and that's okay. This is some masculine energy that says, I value my autonomy above any of the benefits that may occur in divine union. So even for masculine energy at that point, this is going to feel like a bit of catharsis that's coming in. Masculine and feminine energy, if in separation, if this is a moment that masculine opened up to you and it led to a separation point, if you were recognized that you were the person that was reactive, this is feminine trying to parse out what masculine brought forth, determining and trying to recognize if that limitation was something that feels like it is an impossibility point, something that you could not work with, something that is beyond the purview of your manifestation goal, or if this is something that you feel like you want to approach the masculine again by articulating that maybe you had that point of reactivity. Continuing to get clarification, third card in our 5-card spread for today, 2 cards popping out. What do we have here? Emotional overwhelm and temperance coming through. So I will stress there is something about this right now that we have to pay a little attention to, a little bit more continuing volatility, if you will, in relation to masculine energy right now, even if you're in the divine union frequency. Why are we seeing this? Because as we have seen, what does masculine need to do to balance the feminine energy within them? It can feel very emotionally overwhelming. For masculine, the ability to carry and be open around emotions is always feeling, to a certain extent, like almost like a wave that's going to like knock you over to a certain extent. And even in those moments, there are feelings like that crash point of emotion, like, you ever feel like a swell of pride? And then like the swell of pride like makes you like a little teary, you know, that like overwhelm to a certain extent. We're almost seeing here that something is happening because, again, masculine having that breakthrough or feeling that point of success almost like amplifies to a certain extent for the divine union frequency as like overwhelm. So just be a little mindful of that today, masculine energy in this frequency, because like there's a lot of emotion here. And how you navigate that like influx of emotionality may be a little triggering for some of the energy right now. So make sure that you're just giving yourself time to like embody it. Give yourself time to like just sink into the feeling, because even here we see that masculine, you're doing a lot of work right now in holding. Remember how I said that masculine's trying to stretch their ability out in doing this, holding that emotional space, recognizing that you don't need to run from that feeling, that you can just sit in it and bask in it, if you will. That's going to be a lot of the challenging space right now for the masculine energy in the divine union frequency today. Masculine energy, feminine energy, you may be seeing this on the part of the masculine today. You may be seeing, and again, for feminine, this is also that modality of seeing a masculine that like goes through some of these like emotional overwhelms. But even then, we're seeing that this is creating a deep connection point for a feminine, because this is not just a masculine that is like happy about like the logistics of feminine kind of coming into their power in this way. This is masculine that is deeply emotionally invested in the feminine coming into their power to a certain extent. And even for feminine right now, that is an amplification of care on the part of seeing a masculine in this way. Masculine and feminine coming into the divine union frequency. What we're effectively seeing right now is, again, this could feel like a moment that is actually more emotionally overwhelming for the feminine. Because if this is a masculine that, again, just had a breakthrough this week, has had this point of clarity, and through that breakthrough, this isn't masculine that's taking that healing and trying to pull away and run away and bring this healing back to someone else. If this is a masculine that's reaffirming their commitment to the partnership in a moment that they've opened up and had this breakthrough, this is almost immediately triggering and reminding feminine of situations wherein masculine did not do that. This could even be feminine articulating to masculine all that point of anxiety, the fear and doubt that feminine had at that moment, that the masculine might go away as the masculine's healing. This may be one of those moments that we are seeing that is rising to the surface right now, and feminine almost articulating their doubts and fears to the masculine. Masculine, if you're in the divine union frequency and you're committing and pledging yourself towards this feminine emotionally right now at a time that you're having these breakthroughs, this could feel very emotionally overwhelming to you. Because what we're effectively identifying is the fact that we're recognizing you may even have seen and understood what the feminine's talking about. Past unhealed versions of the self, you may recognize that that's something that may have occurred. And what we are seeing again, for the energy that's maintaining and staying in the divine union frequency, this is almost masculine reaffirming and saying, I'm not going anywhere. This is where I want to be. I didn't bring these things forth to tell you that I'm leaving. I brought these things forth to show you my commitment to staying. So for the energy having these difficult conversations, they can be a little bit overwhelming. They can be a little bit emotionally fraught. But we see that masculine's ability to push through their own emotional overwhelm, and not to run from that feeling, not to shut off from that feeling, but almost allow themselves to embody it, allow themselves to sit in the space and allow that emotional overwhelm to occur in the presence of feminine, is amplifying a masculine energy. Doesn't have to be perfect, but is showing an ability to try to push through their own anxiety to come into emotional balance, sticking around for the hard part. Masculine and feminine in separation. This is why we see right now that energetically there's a lot of possibility of partnership that's coming into play. Though we are seeing right now, this is a little bit harder for the masculine energy. Masculine energy in separation right now is potentially going to be a bit more sensitive, if you will, particularly in this space. Why is the masculine feeling more like a raw nerve right now if in separation? I just articulated and amplified the fact that a lot of this masculine energy took that leap of faith. They opened up to a feminine. They put everything on the table. Some of this masculine energy fell out of partnership because a feminine pushed them out at a point of masculine being completely at their most vulnerable and open. So that's why we see energetically right now, feminine, if you're encountering some masculine energy in separation, you may feel some of this raw nerve quality to some of this energy, especially if this is masculine energy that was on a healing journey and standing in their integrity caused them to fall into separation. So feminine, being able to be mindful of that right now if in separation and making new connections with masculine, because we see a lot of new connections with masculine coming to the surface right now. That's something that you just need to be a little mindful of, because I think that we're seeing here that may require a little bit of sensitivity and patience, because some of this may feel like it's too raw or vulnerable for some of the masculine energy even to open up to right now. This is tender. This is a tender button. Masculine energy that's in separation right now, due to the fact that you would not open up towards feminine. Even now we see that this is a little bit of a fraught territory too, because masculine in separation, if this is a modality or moment right now, I have to stress, I have to bring it up because there's some of the masculine energy that's in this modality, and I just want to speak towards it. We have a situation here that may be evolving, wherein there's some masculine energy in separation that you tried to move towards feminine in a way that was not being open, that was not being vulnerably open, that was not being clear. And so now we see almost like something that may feel like an overwhelming perfect storm of a moment happening right now. Because again, this is an energy wherein you may recognize and realize that this feminine is trying to say to you in some way, shape, or form that they desire you if you're able to come into this level or degree of openness. But we're also seeing here that this is feminine energy that is not waiting for you to come into that modality. This is not a waiting game for feminine, because this is feminine that is assuming that if you're not doing so, you may never do so. So we're seeing that even now there might be some masculine in separation that is feeling the frustration of wanting to come towards a feminine from an emotional point without being emotionally open, but feeling like they're being rejected. At the same time, it seems like feminine is making connections with new masculine energy. And this is not due to the feminine not wanting to have this with you. This is due to a feminine that has given up or surrendered the fact that you're going to give them that level or degree of openness. So for some of the masculine energy in this modality right now, this may be a lot to unpack, especially if you're trying to maintain that point or state of autonomy while trying to build a connection with feminine. You may be realizing and recognizing that something about the way that you're going about it is misaligned. You're misunderstanding the difference between having something that feels like it is unique and unconventional versus building clarity and openness. Your own ability to navigate and build a situation is not how you build a situation. Like, you can't, your ability to create with feminine requires you to be in the aspect of looking at the feminine as a co-creator, not something that you divert around or work around, not like an object. And this is what we're effectively seeing right now for some of the masculine in separation, is parsing out and looking potentially towards other masculines to try to understand what you're potentially doing wrong or what you're misunderstanding. And what's happening again for a lot of the masculine, trying to communicate this to other masculine energy. This is one of those things that if you're asking someone, what do I do? This is almost the masculine energy trying to say to other masculine energy, it's not a game book. It's not what you do. It is what you feel. It is how open you are. It's how vulnerable you are. You can't fake that. You have to embody it. Feminine energy in separation right now, if there is a moment or modality, again, feminine energy allowing themselves open to new masculines that are going to work with feminine as co-creators right now feels bittersweet, because this is feminines potentially articulating even now to new potential masculine energy that, again, there's someone that they aspire to build with in this way, but they showed an inviolability point. And this is feminine almost saying, having that sense and recognition, even feminine opening up in this way and explaining to masculine the nature by which they may be in separation is amplifying feminine's own ability to try to create a place of trust and openness with masculine energy. Masculine energy and separation, if you are open, if you are finding yourself in separation because you are trying to be open with a feminine that rejected you for it, well, you're probably singing like hallelujah right now to the heavens if you're encountering energy like this, because you're basically hearing someone that's basically, and you may not even be open about this, you're basically explaining something to someone that like feels very aligned to what just happened to you, but on the opposite polarity. So we see here that even at this moment, it may feel like a moment that feels like very emotionally overwhelming for some masculine energy right now, if that's potentially occurring. There is some feminine energy in separation right now that may be going through a difficulty point, especially if this is something that you asked for from the masculine. If you asked for masculine to be open, but instead of being able to welcome that point of truth that masculine brought forth, it created a reactivity place in you, pushed you away. We are even seeing now that there's something that the feminine is doing in separation, trying to parse out if what the masculine truly brought forth feels like a firm stoppage point, or was this something that just triggered the feminine. So we see here that even now for the feminine, this is doing a lot of work, potentially even like, talking to other masculine energy about it to try to understand how to go forth. If this is a closure point, or if this is something that you feel has some kind of metric through which you might be able to heal. Fourth card in our 5-card spread for today is 10 of Pentacles in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy in the divine union frequency. One of the things that we're potentially seeing right now. The hurdles for the energy in the divine union frequency, I just need to stress this, isn't the energy in the divine union frequency. It's just everything around it. It's like it's and again, you will recall, and this is not surprising to recognize what has been happening for the energy in the divine union frequency this week. What has masculine done that masculine feels is a point of success if working with feminine energy? Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Masculine has helped feminine repartition something that they were carrying within them, that they were holding as a point of failure, holding as a point of blame, holding as a point of personal recrimination, holding as a point of doubting oneself. Masculine has been trying to walk feminine through to a certain extent and say that thing that you feel about yourself isn't true. And I've got some questions about who made you feel that way. Masculine opening the door to feminine and saying, nothing that you've been telling me that you feel about yourself I have seen true, which leads me to believe someone put that feeling in you. Someone gave you that false narrative. Someone gave you that story. Someone told you that was true about you when it wasn't. You have to ask yourself why and who would do that. Feminine being able to recognize and see that is the externalization. The pushing out doesn't make the problem easier, recontextualizes the problem, recontextualizes the pain, moves the energy outside of the self to something that needs to be navigated, thereby empowering the feminine. Breakthrough. Masculine, seeing the ability of feminine to see this, helping feminine change their perspective, recognizing that what they've been carrying as a burden within the self is not the self burden. It's about the energy that they used to allow themselves near themselves with. This becomes a lesson in spiritual and emotional hygiene. Masculine, seeing a feminine that's seeing things in that way with you, breakthrough. The breakthrough is the perception on what is outside that needs to be healed versus what is inside that you can facilitate healing on. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union. What is the energy doing at a moment of breakthrough that happened this week? Recommitment to each other, that you're not going to depart with the breakthrough that you just had with one another and take it to something that is unhealed. Amplifying the commitment to each other, prioritizing the other person, amplifying that whatever is around in the past, even if this breakthrough could heal something or fix something, you're not going to go run out the door with it. You're going to stay committed, and prioritizing the divine union is, again, breakthrough. Amplifying, recontextualizing the past is not leading to separation out of divine union. So again, more of this breakthrough point by contextualizing what is and is not within the realm of the divine union. Masculine and feminine in separation. Possibility of a lot of energy potentially connecting this weekend. New connection points, new breakthroughs, because again, what is happening right now for the energy that is coming into divine union? Shared trauma, shared unhealed karmic lessons. What happens when we share unhealed karmic lessons that are not our responsibility, but something that occurred to us? Bum, ba, bum, breakthrough, divine union connection. The energy releasing what is not for them brings in what is for them. Contextualizing what has led them to that point brings them into union. This is energy that has freed itself and is now able to find itself in the process. Masculine and feminine energy, that again, the feminine energy that was seeking truth, openness, and honesty, floating out in the ether right now because they're relinquishing the energy that wouldn't give them that. The energy right now of masculine that opened up to feminine in this way and was rejected from that point of honesty, floating out in the ether right now because they're in that place. Perfect opportunity in the midst of what feels like a chaotic situation to be able to find exactly what you are seeking at this time. Masculine and feminine, that this is the personal journey. Again, if this is masculine energy right now, the only place that we're seeing that this is becoming a bit more of a fraught territory is, again, if you're masculine energy and feminine asked you for this point of clarity, and you're coming into the point of assuming and building that point of catharsis and saying, I'm not doing that. This is feeling a little bit like a personal journey because, again, it is feeling to a certain extent that there's something here that you're trying to observe that feels like you're doing something in a way that doesn't feel like it's working successfully to a certain extent. Because even now, you may be feeling that you're doing something trying to maintain your autonomy at all costs, but you're also recognizing that what you're doing or the way that you're doing it isn't necessarily creating clarity. That if you're not moving in a place, even if you're being autonomous or you value your autonomy, if you're not being clear about it, you just bring chaos because it's like you're trying to create confusion to hide the fact that you're trying to move from a point of autonomy. So even now we see that for a lot of the energy right now, if in separation, that observation on how you might be able to move in a way that feels like it's going to bring forth more integrity is a lot of that work that you're potentially doing right now, because it could be feeling for some of the masculine energy that it's like everywhere you go, it's like if everywhere you go is chaotic, you have to ask yourself, where is the source of the chaos coming from? And there could even be a moment right now, if there's a masculine energy in separation is chaotic, you have to ask yourself, where is the source of the chaos coming from? And there could even be a moment right now, if there's a masculine energy in separation, the masculine's fear was as it relates to coming forward towards you. So we see here that a lot of the feminine energy parsing this out right now in separation is trying to identify the difference between the masculine energy's truth, that recognition of someone coming towards you from an authentic place, versus the confusion that truth has brought up. So for feminine energy, that a point of understanding here, assessing whether this feels untenable because it's too chaotic, or if your connection point to the masculine is such that you feel that you can navigate this, even now we see that feminine in separation is trying to parse that out, and they need a little bit of time. This is almost potentially a feminine that's asking the masculine for a little bit of time to figure out how best to proceed. Fifth card in our 5-card spread is, but the problem for some of them, there's some problem. Okay, the problem is there are some unhealed energies here. We're coming into a place where the karmic energies are connecting and they're strengthening, but a lot of it is also amplifying what is unhealed. This is healing that is coming through right now with the observation of energy that is unhealed. What has masculine been doing this week to help feminine build that sense of confidence in themselves? This is masculine almost looking at feminine and being like, those things you feel about yourself, you know they're not true, right? You know, I've never seen any instance in which they are true. You know what that says to me? Who put those thoughts into you? Where did they come from? Because this is almost creating a place for masculine that's like having that point of observation is showing feminine something that they themselves feel is that point of frustration. And the point that the masculine is trying to amplify to the feminine right now is, what happens between us, what we're creating here is fine. That energy around you from the past is what needs to be healed. That energy that created that false narrative, that energy that created that false set of beliefs. This is masculine, much like masculine is sharing the weight of building feminine's confidence here. Masculine is taking on the unhealed energetic burden of the energy that put those false narratives, that put those false constructs on feminine in the first place. Your joy is my joy. Your burden is my burden. Those, and to a certain extent, in a way, this is almost masculine getting like overly protective about it. Like this is, again, almost a masculine that's almost at a point that's trying to extend a lot of patience here, because this is masculine feeling like the full weight of this, even through like building that point of clarity and amplifying and understanding as they're trying to relieve the feminine of it. Feminine, this is feeling and seeing things from the point of view of that collective energy. It's like the more that you kind of unpack something, the more you walk through something, the more you see the perception of the energy showing you something about those circumstances and situations that you might not necessarily have even recognized or experienced at the time that they were occurring. This is like that sense or that idea that like you can't see trauma until you get back from it, until you move out of it. So for a lot of the feminine energy right now coming out of trauma, this is feminine energy almost seeing a lot of that unhealed stuff that they were around from the perspective of the energy that's like, look down. Do you see it? And feminine being like, oh, which is why we see for a lot of the feminine energy experiencing this right now, this doesn't heal what the feminine's been carrying. It recontextualizes it. It gives feminine a different perception on something that's going to need its own, a different level of healing, but healing nonetheless. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. This, and I have to stress here, there's some energy that may fall into separation over this, but fortunately I'm not seeing a lot of that occurring here. Masculine and feminine going through a moment, having a lot of breakthroughs this week. The energy that is staying in divine union is reaffirming the commitment to one another, that you're staying firm towards what you are building with each other, almost recognizing and understanding and saying, you brought forth my healing, why would I go anywhere else? This is where my healing came from. This is that, not just the openness, not just the breakthrough, but then the reaffirmation of the commitment towards one another at this time is creating even now a lot of energetic breakthroughs. May feel very emotionally overwhelming, particularly for the masculine right now. Because for the masculine, that influx of emotionality is potentially even amplified by seeing the anxiety of a feminine that thought that you were potentially going to go away with this lesson. So for masculine, a lot of this is almost trying to reaffirm to the feminine that you're not going anywhere, that there's not something here that's going to lead you to go away, because this is almost a moment that as feminine's having this breakthrough, it is almost making them relive some past trauma. So there could be a moment that energy is coming into divine union right now, and feminine is potentially opening up about their anxieties, about their fears, about having reached this point with energy in the past, and rather than that building that connective tissue, this being the moment that someone drops away. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. This is why we see energetically there's a lot, this is like rife opportunity for energy to come into connection right now. because we've got here energy that is floating in the ether right now in separation that has experienced the same unhealed karmic journeys. These correlation of unhealed karmic journeys means that you are on the same path. You have learned the same lessons that can bring you into the space of meeting right now. The feminine having experienced a masculine energy based in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, that would not be open and honest with the feminine to be able to be co-creators. Masculine that was open and honest potentially to a feminine that was not able to navigate or hold space for their truth and honesty. These energies now are floating out together in separation, which means the ability for them to find each other is very high. Everybody go on dates this weekend. Masculine and feminine that are in separation, that are working on their own personal healing journey. Because some of this energy now, the energy right now in separation, if there's masculine energy that's come to the terms as they don't desire divine union, this is feeling more like a masculine that is like tangibly pushing divine union away. There's something right now that we're even seeing that masculine, you're navigating that choice. You're navigating how you move right now. Because there could be a moment with masculine that feels to a certain extent that it's not just the fact that you've chose to move in this way, it's almost seeing or feeling something that feels more chaotic right now, because it's that feeling that you're doing something in a way that doesn't feel like it's completely clear. It feels like chaotic. It feels like you potentially have a lot of unhealed karmic energy around you right now, because there could be something that's happening right now that feels like something akin to a repeating cycle. So for masculine energy in this modality right now, that sensation, that point of recognizing that you can move in any way you want, but it requires you to be open and clear. Even in separation, it requires that point or level or degree of honesty, or else you just create environments that produce chaos and confusion and unhealed karmic energy. We see even now there's something about this that may feel like a lot of personal journeying for some of the masculine energy and separation going through this, that may feel a little overwhelming, because it's looking at something and saying to oneself, what can I do differently to stop having this happen? Feminine energy right now, if there is a moment wherein masculine tried to come forward to you with their honesty and truth, and that led to a point of rejection, this is feminine potentially either looking at something and saying something that the masculine brought forth is like a strict no for me. It's not something that I will ever be comfortable with. And that's where we see feminine kind of healing from something here. Or we are seeing a feminine that is recognizing that their reactivity point may have to do with some unhealed trauma. And processing that unhealed trauma right now may start to take over a lot of the time and concentration of a feminine right now, because this is a feminine energy that may see the fact that you asked the masculine for something, the masculine gave it to you, and then you reacted in exactly the reason that may have given exact the clarity as to why the masculine wasn't so forthright in the first place. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Magician in combination with our Knight of Cups. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our High Priestess in its reversal. This is why we see to a certain extent that masculine is so focused on this work right now. This is feminine masculine energy that is having this ability to try to show feminine and say, you know, it's so like, this is almost masculine saying your ability to see is only limited in one place, and that is within the self. This is almost a masculine that's trying to say to feminine, remember that clear mirror? And it's so funny because what we're seeing here is masculine almost saying to feminine and saying, you are such a clear mirror to everything. Your ability to see things is fantastic, except when it comes here, except when it comes to your own self. So we're seeing here again, masculine almost saying to feminine, this is almost masculine saying, it's not that you're perfect. He's like, I'm trying to help you see. He's like, and this is almost a masculine affirming and saying, you know, I want you to see you the way I see you. I want you to see you the way I see you, because I feel that you don't. So for feminine, again, this is why we see this beautiful battery that's happening right now for the energy in divine union. Because this is masculine almost saying, I want you to become a, not this, and I have to stress this, this isn't masculine saying, I want you to become my perfect, what I consider perfect. I want you to become my ideal. I want you to become the perfect thing. This is masculine saying, I want you to become the perfect you. I want you to become the perfect you, because what I see in you is perfect. Everything about you is perfect. I want to continue perfecting that. So we see this feminine feeling a masculine that's not trying to cultivate or shape them into what would be perfect for them, but feeling that sense of a masculine that truly wants to see you move into your best, like your highest aspiration. That is the energy of a feminine that, again, can have absolute freedom, because this is a feminine that almost says, like, I know this masculine appreciates me for every facet, not just the facets that they desire. This is a masculine that appreciates all parts of the feminine. And so for a feminine that feels this, this is a feminine that immediately wants to facilitate that same level of care and concentration and focus towards masculine, because this is almost a feminine that's not doing this for themselves. This is a feminine that is trying to be their best version of self, not just for themselves, but because they see the emotional joy it brings the masculine to see them in that modality. See that beautiful battery coming into action? Masculine and feminine coming into separation, they're coming into divine union. What we are effectively seeing at this time is this moment, that what is happening right now. Feminine feeling that anxiety, feminine feeling that ancestral wound coming up, that anxiety of seeing a masculine have a breakthrough and almost have that little voice that goes, oh no. Because feminine has ancestral wounds here of recognizing that sometimes masculine don't utilize divine union as a place that they cultivate and nourish. They utilize it as a well that they can pull from and depart from. Feminine experiencing that modality, looking towards masculine and saying, are you going to continue working in that way? Are you going to come here, allow me to heal you, and then take that somewhere else? Are you going to use this as a replenishment point? Are you going to use me as a replenishment point? Or are you going to stay firm here? And this could be feminine articulating from masculine energy if coming into divine union, because I have experienced that in the past. That is not something in my head. That is something the feminine has seen over and over again. And so for the masculine coming into divine union, that energy, even now, seeing a feminine that may be articulating that, it may feel very painful, because what's happening, you're taking the karmic weight of the feminine. Your emotional connection to feminine is such that you're feeling the full pain and experience of the trauma that a feminine may be carrying. That what was happening, what is the masculine energy doing in the divine union frequency, that the masculine energy coming into the divine union frequency is seeing? A feminine energy that was taken advantage of. A feminine energy that had unhealed karmic energy around them. What's masculine doing coming into the divine union frequency, saying, I'm not going to do that. I am not one of those. I am healed. I am not in that modality. So we see here that the energy staying in the divine union frequency is coming with the confirmation and affirmation saying, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to protect you, and I'm not going to let that ever happen again. Feminine feeling a masculine going through that right now. Again, not just facilitating, not just recognizing the breakthrough point that they've had with you, but reaffirming their own commitment to stay by you. Even in those moments is almost, again, it's feeling very traumatizing. It's re-triggering past trauma. It may feel like a beautiful moment. You ever have those moments that you want to laugh and cry? It has one of those moments that feels like very, very happy and very, very devastating at the same time. Pull up, pull down, because you're remembering at this moment how many times that did not occur. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. A lot of energy right now, right to come back into divine union. There's a lot of energy that's potentially going to be finding themselves over the next few days, because what we're effectively seeing right now is, again, bad situations lead to perfect opportunities. Feminine energy right now feeling like, again, that bittersweet feeling of having to push one energy away that they desire but isn't bringing forth what they truly want or need. New energy coming towards feminine that is offering them exactly what they want and need. This is a confusing spot even for the feminine energy to experience this right now, because again, it's really hard when we have the thing that we desire and we have the manifestation that we desire. And sometimes these two things are not aligned. So we see here that for a lot of the feminine energy right now, that mutual pull between feeling that you have to release someone who wants to be able to build with, doesn't want to be able to build with you or co-create. They just kind of want you as an object in their life on their terms, versus energy that's now ready to co-create with you and offer you what you want from this energy. I know it stinks, right? It's frustrating. It's a frustrating modality to a certain extent, because what we're effectively seeing here is feminine. It is feeling like, again, it can feel very much like you're being pulled in two separate directions, even if in separation. Because again, this is how we heal something. We want something from one energy, but we know that they will not bring it forth. And then meanwhile, we have the opportunity to move toward our manifestation goal with the new energy. So this ability right now for feminine, it may feel very conflicted. It may feel very hard. And we're seeing here that even now, this is feminine energy that's probably potentially even again, what is feminine doing? They're opening up. They're articulating. They're clarifying. They're not moving in a place of being completely rigid and open. They're feeling that pull, but they're leaving themselves open to move forward to a certain extent. Masculine energy, you may be seeing and recognizing this right now, especially if you're building new connections with the feminine. That may feel, and we're even seeing here, a feminine energy that's kind of reticent in terms of explaining or expressing what they're moving away from right now. Because again, this is a feminine energy and you may understand this. And the funny part with a lot of the masculine energy right now that's in that healed state, it's almost a moment that you probably see this feminine better than the feminine sees it themselves. You understand this energy. You understand, you've gone through that journey. You've either been in that modality in the past and you've healed from it, or you've seen it around. So again, that ability of masculine to basically say to feminine right now, if in separation, I get it, I understand. Because what masculine is looking at is like there's a feminine that's been being taken advantage of. There's a masculine looking and saying there's a feminine that's been being taken advantage of. And so we see here that these two energies in healing are now going to help facilitate and work towards healing together. So the ability right now for energy to come together, to have new partnerships, to heal is very, very large. And it's coming from a place that's very emotionally difficult for the feminine, because we see here that it's not about the emotional connection that the feminine is trying to have with masculine. It is about feminine moving in a way and a space that they know is best and right for themselves. Masculine and feminine, masculine energy right now, that is in separation, that has made the choice, masculine energy, if you're making the choice to move from a place of autonomy, if you've decided that there's a place here that you're feeling like you want to be autonomous and you don't want to open up to feminine, we are seeing this limitation factor, masculine, that you may be potentially recognizing, which just means that you're trying to avoid certain energetic signatures at this point. This is one of those moments that we're potentially just seeing right now, masculine. It may feel like there's some energy that you just recognize and realize is not going to be something that you can build with, because again, this is a lot of healing right now, masculine. There's something really important that potentially is happening for some of the masculine energy right now, and observing that you're building and creating a lot of unhealed karmic energy around you right now if you're moving in this way. And it may be feeling to a certain extent like a point of conflict, because you may be observing this right now, and you may even have healed energy of masculine, other masculine energy, trying to show you that the way that you're proceeding or the way that you're moving is kind of creating situations or circumstances through which it doesn't necessarily benefit or facilitate a positive space for feminine energy, period. And so again, even for masculine energy in this point of separation, that point of understanding, that point of recognition may lead to a lot of potential breakthrough energy, even in separation, in terms of making sure that you're able to move in a place of authenticity as it relates to what you aspire and desire, without feeling like you have to pull the wool over feminine's eyes at every moment. Feminine energy in separation, if this is a moment or modality wherein you asked masculine to be open and honest with you, and they met you with that open and honesty, you may be having a moment where you're questioning your own self, because there could be a moment here where you're recognizing that masculine may have tried to be transforming and shifting before you. They were trying to come out of a place where they may have previously been this. They were trying to have that breakthrough point, but you may not necessarily have seen it at the time, because your own overreactivity from what you were receiving kind of blinded you to the fact that that was occurring. But even now, for feminine energy, potentially recognizing that, that is a breakthrough that can help facilitate healing some unhealed karmic situations or circumstances around you at this time. Continuing to get clarity on these cards right now between our Knight of Cups, our King of Cups in its reversal, and our Temperance card. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. Fool in its reversal. We love to see this. We love to see this card in this position. Some of the masculine energy right now in separation. Masculine and feminine energy. I'm just going to keep saying huge possibility right now for new connections to come into focus. We see that there's some healed energy right now in separation. Feminine deciding, wanting clarity, openness from masculine. Masculine having just come from a situation or circumstance where you tried to be open and honest, but it created a moment of rejection. It created a feminine that wasn't necessarily ready for what they were asking for. These energies are now floating together in the ether of separation, which means the possibility of them coming together right now is very strong. For the feminine, it is a little bit more difficult because we see for a lot of this feminine energy, it's not the fact that the masculine here has been relinquished. There's a masculine you're still feeling that emotional connectivity point to. The problem or the hurdle for some of the feminine in this modality is realizing and recognizing that if this masculine can't come forward in this way, it's just an impossibility point. It's not due to a lack of care. It's due to an impossibility point in the masculine meeting you on that, in that place that you can build with them. So even for the feminine energy right now, this may feel like more of a conflicting space. Masculine, you may be feeling conflicted because, again, you feel like you have to let go of an energy that you tried to be open with, but you feel like they've effectively, taken that openness and wounded you with it. So even now we see that you're also in a tender place. Masculine and feminine separation right now, again, for feminine energy that realizes and recognizes that a masculine opened up, this could be a moment that may be amplified in feeling like this masculine, this is either what they revealed or the time it took for them to reveal it. This could be in feminine realizing and recognizing that something about their own reactivity point had to do with timing, which is why we see that this is feminine energy trying to move back towards that energy saying, I'm sorry, I overreacted right now. Or this is feminine energy just amplifying and saying that is a lesson that they will take with them as they move forward to new connections. Masculine and feminine. Masculine, if you're in separation right now because you have an unwillingness to be able to open up to feminine, one of the things that we appreciate right now is the fact, masculine, you may be recognizing that this is something within your own self that you're working through. And even now we see that masculine, you're doing a lot of internal work right now to figure out how to be more open emotionally in a way that isn't necessarily going to cause this chaotic energy around you. So even now we see that there's a lot of possibility of growth happening in separation. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. Masculine, your own ability to commit to a feminine right now from a point of breakthrough is almost feeling like this energy. This is like the start. This is like the real start of partnership, because this is really getting into the heart of the divine union here. This is energy that's now just moving right into the divine union frequency, because what we've had here is a combination of breakthrough, open clarity, and then affirmation and commitment to stay the course. So this is energy that's moving very deeply into that heart of the divine union frequency, because it's showing an ability to remain constant. Time will tell, but even now, masculine, you realize that that ability to constantly reaffirm that point is something that is just natural in that frequency. Feminine, seeing a masculine that is amplifying an ability to be open, clear, co-create with you, and also reaffirm their commitment towards you, is showing a masculine energy that, again, there's still a bit of a wait and see approach for feminine here, but there's that feeling of security, because every time masculine does this, it builds that sense of confidence. It builds that sense of strength. It builds that sense of trust. The energy right now that is in the point of trust in the heart of the divine union, this is having those same breakthroughs that we're seeing. But again, masculine, the breakthroughs that you're seeing right now are almost being expressed in seeing the feminine continuing to get into that point of power, continuing to build in themselves, continuing to believe in themselves. And even now, that's something that feels very overwhelming to masculine, because that feels like something that masculine is taking a point of personal pride on. And it almost feels like in that space or in that state, the more that feminine's able to become into that, it feels like new opportunities, new avenues open. Because again, this is that constant support that allows you to continue to climb together, continue to grow together. And so right now what we're seeing is almost that moment for masculine of continuing to want to put that type of energy towards feminine as you move forward in this way. Feminine, seeing and experiencing this on the part of a masculine, you're also seeing and recognizing a masculine that's like building an ability to navigate their own emotional hurdles. This is a masculine that's also growing because you're building more and more of an emotional connection with masculine, because the more that they come in touch with their own vulnerability, the more that they come into emotional connection with you. So even now, this is some of that back and forth, that give and take that we're seeing right now, that these two energies are providing each other, that's allowing for new opportunities as you proceed to do so. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, between our King of Cups in its reversal, Temperance, and our Ten of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with Ten of Wands in its reversal. This is all about kind of getting over a hump right now. This is coming into, again, a lot of the masculine energy. I have to stress, for the masculine energy right now, a lot of the hurdles, they're not in the divine union frequency. Even now, we see that a lot of this amplification that masculine's putting forth right now and helping feminine come into this, it's more about masculine. The masculine's frustrations we're seeing here are coming from the outside energetic situations and circumstances. This has to do with more of those like frustrating situations, conditions outside of the energetic frequency. And again, what's masculine trying to do right now? They're trying to maintain a point of patience through them and recognizing that the patience will make them easier. It's not that these things will get fixed, but this is almost masculine trying to work on their own emotional balance through this to navigate situations and circumstances that can be somewhat frustrating. Feminine, you may be seeing this and experiencing this similarly on the part of masculine energy. The situations and circumstances, again, this partitioning out, even masculine trying to show you something in a certain way and saying that's not on you, that's on energy around you. It doesn't make the problem easier, it just changes the problem. So we see energetically to a certain extent for feminine, this is feeling like masculine has it's like masculine has simultaneously eased a burden and added a new one, right? It's like the problem got shifted. The problem got shifted outside of you, got put into like a different room, and now you're just kind of looking at it because you're seeing it now in a way that you haven't seen it before. But again, masculine's own ability to help you recognize that is almost one that, again, it feels like a point of helping recognize that. And I think that one of the hurdles around this is looking at some of these circumstances and situations and feeling the weight of trying to karmically heal something while also trying to forgive it at the same time. This is feminine energy trying to move from a place of empathy as it relates to something, to try to understand if someone was intentionally moving in that way to create that false narrative within feminine, or if this was more evocative of a masculine that was so emotionally unable to connect to their own point of balance that it was easier to push that on the feminine than embody those points of anxiety. This is feminine trying to unpack why someone would put that trauma on them. Continuing to get masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. This is that energy that we're effectively seeing right now of feminine feeling the overwhelm, especially if this is a masculine that's reaffirming to feminine their commitment to stay the course with feminine. This is feeling immediately triggering to feminine. This is feeling like, again, remember that breakthrough we saw with masculine, feeling the breakthrough of having that point of opening up and feeling a feminine stay steadfast, and then recognizing all the points they could have applied that in the past that would have changed something. So it was like a breakthrough that was really grounding and being like, oh, like, yes, oh no. Feminine's having that same feeling right now. Feminine's having that same feeling of having that moment of being like, this, they're staying. They want to stay committed here. They want to stay with me on this, remembering immediately all the times that didn't occur. So that breakthrough, it's like, you know, you feel like that you can, like, you see from like the top of the tree, but then you feel like the depth of the branches at the same exact time. So it can feel like a lot. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. These energies, they're just out there. They're going to find each other. And one of the things that we're seeing right now, I got to say, if this is a karmic situation right now, where again, if someone isn't opening up to someone and there's still some possibility of wanting to create something, you better open up sooner rather than later is all I'm saying here. Because there's a moment that we're seeing that feels like someone here is waiting for the time to be right. Energetically, we're even seeing that there's some masculine energy right now, if in separation, going, I want to open up. It's just now's not a good time. And we're seeing that for some of the masculine energy, if you're trying to plead for patience and opening up, we're seeing here that that's almost like an impossibility point here, because something is reaching a crescendo moment where if this is feminine that has already been waiting, the waiting itself is creating the chaos point, because this is a feminine energy that is effectively waiting and having that moment of being ready to move on, and feminine energy that has a lot of new energy around them that's ready to take these steps and move forward with them in this capacity. Feminine energy, if this is a modality wherein masculine opened up to you in this way, you may also be potentially asking for some time right now. But again, that amplification of asking for some time may in itself, you may be recognizing, is creating a little bit of a trigger point. Because again, it's almost that moment of remembering that circumstances don't change people. They reveal people. So this is masculine energy feeling some kind of abandonment wound. If this is a masculine energy that opened up and it led you to push them away, you may be remembering times and spaces in the past where that may have occurred to you with masculine energy. So we're seeing here that there's a lot of energy here trying to decide whether to like rip a Band-Aid off and just take that leap of faith right now. So when I say there's a lot of possibility of energy coming back into divine union right now, I mean there's a lot of possibility of that right now, because there's a lot of energy right now that is in separation. If these are the reasons, going, oh, this was a correction point internally that I need to make. A lot of energy right now, if you're in separation because of this, the possibility of meeting someone right now that is in the same exact karmic journey as you and that's ready to move forward on that breakthrough point is very high. So again, there's kind of like, this is like, I have to stress, this is coming through like a perfect storm of healing. This is like a perfect storm of healing that's coming through very quickly in very different ways. And it's in a way, the healing itself is creating a little bit of that chaotic energy because it's coming through very, 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 very fast. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it may feel a little overwhelming. So I want everybody to be very patient this weekend and not be reactive is what I'm really seeing. Because it does feel like this is kind of like, things are getting easier from this, but it does feel like it's like, I'm gonna say it again, you gotta make a room messy before you clean it up. You know what I mean? So we're getting here a lot of that coming through. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 10 of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our 6 of Cups in its reversal. This is the That's okay. Because what's happening here? This is feeling like, I gotta say, this is like coming through as like the energetic bone being thrown to anything that's unhealed right now, if it helps. Masculine and feminine in the divine union frequency. This ability to look at things, to recontextualize the problem is exactly what the feminine needed. Because remember when I was saying that feminine was unsure how to tangibly proceed on some things right now? This is giving feminine that point of clarity. The point of clarity was feminine almost coming in the divine union frequency and identifying the difference between what is a me problem versus what is not a me problem. And a lot of that, like what is not a me problem, is being amplified and just looking at some energy and recognizing that like feminine energy's ability to like embody their own self-doubt in terms of something not moving the way that it should move is almost that point of feminine getting into that higher sense of empowerment as well, because this is feminine energy almost basically saying and amplifying and saying, if this is drama, do I want to add to drama? Or is adding to drama going to help the drama, or is it just going to cause more drama? This is feminine almost looking at some of this unhealed energy, if in divine union right now, in that point of practicality. Like, is the way to correct something to add more to it, or is it just to kind of leave it alone? So we see here, this is feminine trying to figure out how best to navigate some of these circumstances or situations that they feel are creating that snarl. The important thing for the feminine in divine union frequency is it no longer feels like that snarl is within you. It's something that you're just practically observing. And what's nice about something you're practically observing is you can put practical application to it. So in that sense, it does feel like a point of relief. Masculine and feminine, masculine energy, if in divine union, this is also feeling like a point of relief, because this is masculine and feminine looking at something right now and being like, these aren't feeling like the internal problems here for the energy in the divine union. It's like the divine union is not the problem. It's all the things around it. But those things just require practical application. So the energy is just looking at it very practically and saying, what do we need to do to make some of those chaotic situations feel less chaotic? Is there something that can be done, or is giving to them just exacerbating the chaos? Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. This ability of amplifying where you're putting your time, effort, and energy, prioritizing the divine union over what may have brought you to it, is amplifying the energy that's staying in the divine union frequency. Because again, a lot of this energy is looking at these situations and circumstances from the past and saying to a certain extent, yeah, you know what? I probably could have put something back there that might have made these less chaotic, but the healing didn't come from there, did it? It came from here. This is where the healing came. So again, that ability to observe that, to recognize that, is reinforcing one's own commitment in the energy of staying in the divine union frequency. Masculine is almost affirming to feminine and saying, I didn't tell you about those things because I want to go back to them. I didn't tell you about those things. I'm not having this breakthrough that I'm having with you and wanting to go back there. I'm very happy about the fact that we are here. And this is where I'm going to put my time, effort, and energy. This is almost masculine saying to feminine, I know where my energetic and spiritual bread is buttered. Why would I go anywhere else? Masculine and feminine seeing a masculine commit in this way. This is what commitment looks like. It's not a ring. It's not telling someone that you are together. It's masculine giving feminine the full tableau of what is occurring, helping the feminine understand and identify, opening up to feminine, saying, where do we go from here? And then again, affirming to feminine and saying, it's not that these things don't impact me, but we're going to take care of those things together because we are in this together, and your burdens are my burdens. That sharing of the burdens, integration of each other's lives, combining, mingling, not just being together, experiencing these things together. Even right now, masculine, if there's a feminine that's articulating to you and being like, I was worried you were going to walk out the door at the time you had this breakthrough. Masculine, feeling the full weight of that, the emotional impact, and saying, I'm not going anywhere. Rest assured that fear is unfounded. This is masculine, feeling that commitment and putting that commitment into the connection. And this is feminine truly feeling it. And it feels traumatizing. It feels triggering. It reminds you of everything that led up to this point. But that's what that breakthrough feels like. It's built with intentionality. It's built with the firm commitment of choice. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Between our High Priestess in its reversal in combination with our Fool in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Three of Swords. Masculine and feminine in the divine union frequency. This is hard work. This is painful. This is unpacking. As you stay in the divine union frequency, you're getting to the heart of a lot of these wounds that you're carrying. It's not the fact that things get easier. It's not the fact that you lose holding on to that pain. It's finding a way to bear that pain together that is the amplification of the ability to stay in divine union. It's not, again, it is a burden that is carried collectively, and you hold that space for each other as you experience it. So this is masculine and feminine energy. What are the energies doing in the divine union frequency? Are they looking at each other if they're having a hardship and saying that looks like a you problem? Or are they saying to each other, I acknowledge and I see your pain. I want to do everything I can to help you carry it. Feminine, almost moving into this space of saying to masculine, I don't want to add pain to your life. I don't want to add my burden to you. Feminine, masculine saying to feminine, you don't add in any way, shape, or form. You help me carry that burden. The energy in the divine union is not pretending that that pain isn't there. The energy in the divine union is tackling that pain together, unpacking that pain together. Because when you're open and honest with each other, it allows you to have a place of trust where you can talk about that pain. You don't have to hide it or keep it in a box. You can just express it and experience it. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. That transparency, that openness, that clarity, that breakthrough point is potentially leading to you opening up more to one another about the pain that you've carried, about the hurt. It's not pretending that you've lived up until this point in a box and nothing bad has happened to you until you've met this person. It's that ability of being able to be fully open and honest with another person and recognizing if it may be hard to hear, that doesn't indicate a lack of desire to share it, because the openness and expressing something that is hard to hear is the amplification of the stability of the divine union frequency. The energies right now that are holding space for each other in that way are moving deeper into the connection because of it. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. We've got two energies right now that are ripe to meet each other. And what is going to bind them together? Is it going to be their favorite movie? No. It's going to be that pain. It's going to be that experience. It's going to be that collective experience of meeting one another and saying, feminine saying to masculine, I've been waiting for someone who would be open and honest with me, who would want to create with me, and nobody has been able to do so. Masculine saying to feminine, I have been waiting for someone that I can be open and honest with, who wants to go on that adventure with me together. Nobody has been able to bear it. I have been too afraid to share it. Both of these energies, being able to take that hurt, to show it to one another, and to build together from it, not pretending that it's not there, coming to each other with full authenticity and honesty, to be able to recognize each other's grief in that moment and build forth from it. Masculine and feminine, if in separation over conditions wherein this occurred, and either masculine, you are not ready or open or willing to be open to a feminine in this way, or feminine, a masculine that was open in this way and you were not able to hold their pain for them. It was something that was too great a burden. Even energetically now, there's something really important that's happening that feels like a learning lesson. That point of observation and personal path work that's helping you identify what is at the source of a situation, all for the sake of you being able to remedy it going forward. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Fool in its reversal and our Ten of Wands in its reversal. Clarification coming through right now with, everybody's getting serious. I'm okay with it. Masculine and feminine energy in the divine union frequency. You know, the problem with a lot of this path work right now is the fact that like a lot of this addressing is with the amplification and desire to share that healing outwards. The biggest hurdle that we're seeing here is the understanding energetically that we're seeing in the divine union frequency between the difference between energy that actually recognizes that something needs to be healed versus doesn't. And that's why we see, to a certain extent, there's a little bit of a c'est la vie approach happening for some of the energy in the divine union frequency, because it's almost observing and looking towards the energy around situations and circumstances that are not healed, and almost recognizing that it's not necessarily the one's duty or responsibility to have to navigate someone through their own healing. A lot of the energy in the divine union frequency is almost amplifying and saying, if someone wants to heal, they know how the way that they move will indicate that they understand what they need to do to heal. There's just like, it's almost that modality here, which is almost that like point of just, it feels a lot to a certain extent, like, again, a lot of this burden that the energy's been feeling in the divine union. It feels almost like that point of saying, like, it doesn't feel like that need right now to chase after something or someone to try to say to them, hey, are you ready to heal? Which we've been seeing over the last, like, that period in December. We saw that much more heavily, especially from masculine. This is masculine almost moving now into that modality with feminine, which is like, when they heal, we'll be the first ones to know. It's not something that you feel like you need to chase after someone to check. It's almost like recognizing that, like, that ability that is amplified there is almost articulated in the way someone moves. So even now, recognizing that, it feels like a lot of discernment. But we're also seeing here that for feminine right now, that observation point is really valuable, because this is feminine unpacking a lot of the situations and circumstances through which feminine feels like they are healing from. Especially because feminine's been moving a lot of this outside of themselves right now and looking and having the same perception of masculine in relation to seeing something that they were carrying that isn't necessarily their responsibility to carry. Masculine, having this modality here also feels like a breakthrough, because you're helping feminine see things from your perspective, which again, you are feeling is a success point, because again, this isn't necessarily a place or space of masculine feeling that they want to tell the feminine what to do. This is masculine trying to help feminine see things more clearly so that they can move forward in the way that they feel is most comfortable and best. This is a masculine that's trying to empower the feminine energy in the divine union frequency. Masculine and feminine coming into the divine union frequency. This is that point of mutual easement, because this is almost masculine saying to feminine, I know that someone has mistreated you in the past. I know that you're indicating to me that there's energy that's had these breakthroughs with you and then departed with them. I am not one of them. I am not intending on taking this somewhere else. I am not utilizing you as a healing well. The divine union energy is not a healing well. This is a masculine energy saying, I am here. This is what I want to create with you. This is what I want to build with you. So we see energetically that ability and that recognition point is being amplified to a certain degree here by masculine, amplifying their own seriousness and their own commitment to staying the course with the feminine. Feminine feeling and experience a masculine that not only just had a breakthrough with you, but is also now amplifying, almost recognizing your own trepidation at this moment and affirming to you their commitment to stay the course is, again, building that sense of trust. It's building that sense of a feeling like there's a shift occurring, because this is feminine seeing a masculine that is not trying to keep things in that point of casualness, or not trying to force things to stay in that, like, c'est la vie approach. This is like masculine that's saying, no, I understand. I am here to protect you. I am here to build something with you. And I recognize that I need to be serious when I approach you. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This is why we see so much energy right now over like this cycle is potentially going to be coming into divine union. New energetic connections. Or some energy right now that's going to be moving quickly into this divine union frequency, because we're seeing here that there's some kind of shift occur. For masculine energy, if this is a moment that you have recognized you're moving away from something, you're recognizing that the reason that you're moving away from something is because you have an inability to be fully open and honest with that energy. Even now, there's something you're realizing about your approach going forward that needs to shift. Even now, we're seeing that there's something here that you're recognizing, that the way that you're moving, it doesn't feel like you're doing something right. It feels like you're kind of trying to do something in the wrong way. Recognizing that, like, even trying to say that you want to stay in a level or degree of autonomy and holding that like sacrosanct, you can't necessarily operate in a place that that means that you don't necessarily need to build clarity for anyone around you. It almost means you have to be doubly serious. You have to, in a way, masculine energy in this modality, you're potentially realizing you have to be even more open than the energy in the divine union, because your own clarity is required to a certain extent to make sure to amplify that you're not necessarily trying to hurt anyone as you maintain your autonomy. So we see here that some of the problem of masculine going forward on this point is potentially feeling a lot of that collective trauma that you're potentially accumulating if you've been moving in a way that you've been trying to be less clear as it relates to your life and your intentions. Feminine energy, if in separation right now over a moment where masculine tried to come forward towards you, tried to be open and honest, but that led to a point of rejection, this is a moment for feminine that you may be potentially navigating. Again, recognizing if that was a point where you can actually accept that energy, in which case you may want to try to pursue coming back towards them, or if this was something that felt like it was a bridge too far. If something about the timing or what the masculine revealed to you felt like it was too antithetical to what you aspired for, this is almost a moment that leads to catharsis as well. But we see that even in separation right now, there is a lot of energy at play right now that potentially is set to meet each other, because we see here that there's a lot of energy that is moving into a point of seriousness, not wanting to have that point of playing games with one another, not wanting to kind of build a game of smoke and mirrors, but wanting to come from a place of openness and authenticity. So we see that there is a lot of energy here potentially that is ripe to meet one another in that point of separation. And those are two energies that are potentially on healing journeys. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 10 of Wands in its reversal and our Ace of Pentacles. Double 10 cards today. A lot of completion of cycles coming through this full moon. A lot of start of new cycles. A lot of easement, moving away from difficult situations. All for one's sense of self. Things can become really easy when you just start asking yourself, what is emotionally and spiritually best for you? Recognizing that a good energy, an energy that cares about you, is going to want to see you thriving energetically and spiritually in this way. And so we see here that for the energy in the divine union, what is the divine union energy saying right now? Not, again, almost to a certain extent, and this is what's beautiful about the energy in the divine union. This isn't moving in a way saying like what's best for us, what's most advantageous for us. It's with a lot of care and concern for the other person, saying what would make you feel best? What would make you feel emotionally and spiritually best? This isn't moving in a way to try to accomplish something or to get a prize. Remember when I said that the energy in the divine union has been working to relinquish outcome? This is building that concentration point and saying the benchmark is what feels like it would be spiritually and emotionally best for us right now. And that energy is being very mindful of looking towards the other to see what they feel that is, so that they can continue to be supportive in that way. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union, this ability of seeing a place that you've had a breakthrough and not taking that breakthrough and rushing somewhere off with it. Not looking at it like a well or a convenience store. You can pop in and out, taking those lessons and bringing them out to other connections. This ability of saying, you've healed me. I found healing play here. I found catharsis. I found joy. You are where my joy is. I am going to put my effort and energy in protecting that space. There's nowhere else to go. This is that ability of preciousness that you're potentially starting to feel that you're creating between you both. That that calmness. It doesn't feel like a place that you pop in and out of. It feels like something that you put your stakes down in and say, I want to protect this above all costs. This is where my positivity, this is where my abundance, this is where my joy comes from. And so feeling that energetically here, we see a lot of energy that's feeling like, again, a huge milestone this week that's potentially coming through in this way. And it's not one that feels like you need to facilitate on it. It feels like one that you just need to bask in and protect. Masculine and feminine in separation right now, this is potentially painful because there's a lot of release that we're seeing here, and it's painful release. It's situations and circumstances that may have been very long standing, that someone has already poured a lot of effort and energy in. But that simple choice in making the choice of saying, regardless of how much effort I put into this, regardless of how much work I put into this, I need to do what is emotionally or spiritually best for me, recognizing that an energy that is good and aligned for me would want me to do what is energetically and spiritually in my best interest, is almost amplifying right now what feels like the ratio of what you're putting into something versus what you're getting back. So there's a lot of rebalancing that's potentially happening right now, but it's happening with a lot of difficulty. There's a lot of frustration here, particularly for feminine energy. If this is a feminine that feels like they're still holding space for masculine, it refuses to come forward and give the feminine that openness and clarity, even while they're accepting new possibilities and opportunities. This is a feminine energy that's almost saying to themselves, I'm doing what I know is the right thing to do. I'm doing what I know is the right thing to do for myself right now, which is protecting my spiritual and energetic self. So this is feminine coming into that recalibration point. Masculine, if there's a place where you opened in this way, that you had that breakthrough, you opened up to feminine and feminine rejected you for it, this is masculine saying, I'm moving away from something at a point where I gave them everything I could. Because again, I need to be in a place where I feel I can be my authentic sense of self. I want someone I can build and grow with from a place of openness. So both energies, this is why we see the possibility of new partnerships so high right now, because both energies are in separation, but they are healed. These are healed energies in separation. Now, energy right now that is going through a modality wherein you've pushed off masculine energy. If you've pushed off something right now, because of this moment or modality where you don't want to open up in this way, you don't want to build in this way, there is this moment that, again, you are potentially trying to move forward and do what you feel is best for you, but there may be a moment that you are experiencing that needs to be recalibrated upon, because you could be observing that it feels like you've received a lot of healing from someone, but it's begging the question, what have you given back in kind? It's begging the question, it may feel like, again, you're observing the fact that you potentially may be using partnership like a convenience store, going to it for the things you need, moving away from it when you don't, recognizing that that may feel good for you, but it's not necessarily stable for the energies around you. So there may be a moment right now, even for some of the masculine in separation, recognizing and understanding this may help recognize that there may be someone who's pushing away from you right now, saying, I can't do this anymore because this is what I know is best for me. That what, I'm not getting back what I'm putting in. While for some feminine energy right now, if there's a moment where masculine opened up to you in this way and you ask them to, and you push them away, you may be recognizing that there is a disparity between what you said versus your actions. So even now, feminine, being able to recalibrate that is also leading to deeper healing. Masculine and feminine energy in divine union. This is that constant effort to protect the divine union itself. And again, a lot of that work is almost like that reprioritization on where your time, effort, and energy is. And to a certain extent, this is almost like coming into a place of recognizing that, that leveling off of prioritization, it's like things fall to the wayside. Things become less important to a certain extent because, again, you're not thinking about where you can go or what you can do with the energy. You're just thinking about the fact that you want to be able to have that sense of protection, having that sense of care, moving very conscientiously at all times to make sure that this is not necessarily something that feels like it's in the benefit of one or the other, but what feels like it is that collective energy that you're creating in the divine union that feels like it is best for the energy within it. It's like your concentration point moves outside of yourself to what you're creating with another. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Three of Swords in combination with our Page of Cups in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. Masculine and feminine in the divine union energy, This ability, it feels a lot like the choice here is clear. The energy in the divine union is almost moving in a place where it's like, it's not the fact that you're not holding pain for energy outside of the divine union that you would prefer to heal with. But it's almost that recognition point, like I said, that reaffirmation to a certain extent, holding through some of that pain, feeling that sense of saying that you're not necessarily chasing after that healing right now. It's almost recognizing, because we saw a lot of that work was put forward prior to the Mercury retrograde. This is almost that like observation point and saying to a certain extent, if someone is ready to heal, they'll be the first one to let you know. If someone is ready to have a breakthrough, if someone recognizes that the way that they're moving towards you isn't healthy or healing, it's like they'll be the first ones that are able to amplify it via their actions. To a certain extent, that in itself is helping some of the energy heal, because someone's inability is almost like recognizing that someone's inability not to come forward in a situation that they left something unhealed is amplifying the fact that someone is potentially probably still unhealed. Because when we are healed, the first thing that we typically do is start to try to amplify that healing to others. So in a way, the energy in the divine union is taking their own message towards themselves to a certain extent, right? Because what has the energy in the divine union been doing over the last month or so? They have been trying to heal things. So this is that observation point and saying when someone is ready, this is taking the lesson that has been coming through during the Mercury retrograde and is now coming back into the divine union as the download, saying when someone is ready to heal, they'll be the first one to let you know. You don't need to chase after them to find out if they're ready to heal yet. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union, this ability, this recognition point, this observation, if you will, in feeling that shift this week, because there's been a lot of shift right now for a lot of the energy coming into the divine union, a lot of energy moving much deeper into it this week. This feels bittersweet. It feels like you need to let go of some things as you move forward into the divine union. You observe right now, even now, we are seeing what is the energy in the divine union doing. It's recognizing, masculine, you're recognizing some places and spaces in the past where you could have put this healing. And you're coming to terms with it. Are you rushing back to it? No, you're not rushing back to it. You're saying, if I'd known now what I knew then, something back then may not have resulted in what happened. Masculine saying, I'm okay with it because I wasn't who I am now then. This is masculine affirming their choice and staying in that divine union frequency by saying, I can make space for two of those things to be happening at once. This is masculine coming to terms by saying, I can be very happy. I can affirm my choice right now, but I can also hold weight for the places in the past I wish I had done better. What's feminine doing in divine union right now? This is feminine going through a modality of saying, I recognize that my own ability to stand forth and to be strong in this way is something that may have allowed for some changes in the past. It hurts to carry that. Healing hurts. Healing hurts. I am willing to carry that pain because that doesn't affect my choice. I can walk and chew gum. The energy in the divine union realizes you don't sacrifice one for the other. The energy in the divine union is saying, I acknowledge that my choice is holding space for the pain while also not wanting to regret or doubt where I've come from. The pain is what brought you to where you are. You don't chase after it. You just hold space for it and you proceed forward. And that ability to understand and be able to hold both of those modalities without popping back and forth like a pinball is the amplification and the ability of the divine union. Because guess what? When you're in the divine union frequency, you got to operate on different planes. You have to be in that space of holding the pain, but also moving forward with purpose. Masculine and feminine in separation, this modality, this ability to do so, this is energy right now that is carrying in separation. What are they doing in separation? What is the energy doing in separation? Is the energy in separation just sitting with the pain? Is the energy in the is the energy in separation waiting for someone to ease the pain? Is the energy in separation running back to the source of the pain? No. The energy in separation is making room for the pain, but they're not changing their mind. They're staying firm. They're holding on to their purpose. They're holding on to their path. They're saying, I'm going to have to walk and chew gum. I'm going to have to hold space for my pain, but also move forward. And that is the energy that is healing, because that is making the intentional choice to heal. And that ability to say, I am going to hold this pain, but I'm not going to let it keep me here. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to proceed forward, is amplifying and fortifying your own conviction towards moving to your own healing. And that is calling forth the energy that is similarly on the same journey. So for some of the masculine energy and feminine right now, when I say there's a huge opportunity now for energy to be able to come into contact, to manifest what you're hoping to manifest right now, this is why. Masculine and feminine, if there was something that just occurred wherein, again, feminine was showing masculine, if you are open with me, we can come forward. Even now we see that there's some masculine energy that's struggling with that choice, because it is the pain of holding one's own ego versus the pain of releasing. Even now we see masculine, you're juggling and trying to struggle with how to go forward, because there's something about that recognition point that some masculine separations realizing that when you open up in this way, you have to be more serious. It allows a deepening into a connection. So some of the masculine, you're struggling right now to decide and determine whether you can come forward in that way. Feminine, if this is if this is not masculine and wanting to, even if you make that choice, we see masculine, there's something about the way you need to proceed forward from here that you recognize requires some kind of change, because it's causing too much pain. Feminine, if you are in separation right now, this is a moment that we see that this is either feminine energy that is very ripe to be able to move forward right now and meet other masculine that's ready to give you that clarity and openness because they are on the same journey. Or if this is feminine energy wherein the masculine tried to become serious, they tried to open up to you, but you became too reactive, or you pushed this away. Even now, you juggling with what they provided you is a point of recognizing and asking yourself, can you make space for that masculine's truth? Or was something about what they brought forward, timing-wise or openness-wise, too far, not in alignment with your own journey? There's some feminine energy and separation right now, struggling with that as well. Continuing to get clarity on these cards between our Page of Cups and its reversal in combination with our Ace of Cups. Clarification coming through right now with our Wheel of Fortune in its reversal. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now in the divine union frequency, this ability to navigate this, it's difficult. There are hurdles here that get hit. There are moments right now, and I have to stress, I need to point this out. Anything that feels like it's slowing down right now for the energy in the divine union frequency, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because when you are I always like to point this out, when you are in a good place, it doesn't matter if the bus stops. If the bus stops in like a Pleasant Vista, then you're going to be like, I'm okay. Let's stick around here for a while. This is fine. So again, energetically, to a certain extent, this is that feeling in the divine union frequency that it does feel like a slowing down, but it almost feels like a good thing, because again, this is that ability of just being able to savor the energy of what you're creating in that frequency. And even now we see that for masculine, this is like that point of like not wanting to, it's like, it's giving me a lot of energy of masculine, like maybe a lot of masculine energy right now that just wants to cancel plans, that just wants to stay in, because this is really masculine energy. That's almost like, where else would we go? Why else would we go anywhere when everything we have is here? Feminine energy in that same modality, seeing a masculine embodying that, feels like it is affirming too. Because that is, again, feeling the weight and the success and the energy of a masculine that's like, basically says, again, my compass points to you. Where else would I go? My compass points to you. So even for the energy right now coming into divine union, seeing a masculine that is basically affirming that to the feminine, not through word, but through action, is a feminine that's feeling that stability and security. Masculine, and again, this is not a masculine that is hiding things from the feminine. This is masculine that's showing them the full breadth of everything they could do and being like, but I'd rather just be here. It's not just wordplay. It's embodied. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This is why we see that there's a shift that's potentially happening here. Because again, for a lot of the feminine energy, this feels like a difficult decision. Because what we're effectively seeing is, for feminine, this release process. For masculine too right now, this release process, it feels painful. Because we're seeing here that there's something about the fact of recognizing what you feel is best for you internally and spiritually right now feels to a certain extent like you potentially have to let something go. It's almost that moment of identifying the desire to be with someone versus feeling if that really feels like it is in alignment with your highest path and your highest purpose. We see a lot of energy right now trying to say to someone, some way, shape, or form, I desire to be with you. This does not come from a lack of desire, but it comes from a point of recognizing what we both spiritually need in order to be on that path together. This is hitting a moment that feels like the stoppage point in a lot of paths, because again, feminine right now needs masculine to be open, to be willing to share that with the feminine. Masculine, there's masculine right now that is potentially having the same thing happen with some energy saying the desire to be open is also there. Both are experiencing some path point of rejection. They're hitting that wall energetically in your own path that is requiring you to understand or recognize that there may be something outside of the self that you cannot change. And what do we do when we hit a moment that we feel that we are moving in accordance with our own highest self, but something is there that cannot be changed? We either wait for that energy to heal, but we proceed forward. So we see that there's a lot of energy that's trying to communicate to someone or something right now. I desire to go forward with you, but I also need this so much that if I don't have it, it's going to create an irreparable stoppage point in our ability to proceed forward at this time. So that is why we see the possibility for so much energy right now to come back into alignment with energy that feels like it's more aligned with them, because we see now feminine energy that needs that clarity, masculine energy that desires to be that clear. They're both floating around in the ether now, making the choice to separate from energy that can't meet them at that place. It feels like and this is the moment that feels like, is everything falling apart? I bet it feels like everything's falling apart. Or maybe you just don't, maybe you can't see it. Maybe you can't see the full breadth of what's happening here. Masculine and feminine in separation right now, this is also an opportunity for healing. This is a pause point. Not all pause points are bad. Pause points give us a moment to consider. So there's a pause point that's potentially happening right now. Masculine, if this is a moment that you are feeling that weight, you're still asking yourself, maybe I should open up in this way. This pause point is being gifted to you. It's being gifted to you, saying, what do you think is best for you right now? Having that ability to pause right now, to think about what's best for you, is really important right now. Feminine, if masculine came forward to you at a point of honesty and truth, having that point of recognizing if that was something that was trying to show the authenticity of a masculine, trying to build a better connection with you, and you kind of accidentally push them away, this is a good pause point. It's giving you an opportunity to reconsider that choice, so that way we can see if there's something here that can overcome this hurdle. Continuing to get clarification, final card for today's spread, 2 of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Wheel of Fortune in its reversal. Sometimes when everything feels like it's falling apart, it's really coming together. Sometimes it's just a little hard to see it. masculine and feminine. One of the identification points that we are seeing here for the energy in the divine union frequency is almost that moment of, again, this work, this intentionality of choice. It's not the fact that you're not hitting these blockages, but it's almost that moment that you're recognizing that you're just trying to make things easier going forward. What did I tell you? A lot of this energetic work we're seeing for the energy in the divine union right now feels a lot like greasing wheels. It feels a lot like looking towards things and saying, like, how can we just get this wheel a little bit greased so it doesn't squeak as much as it rolls through? So being able to recognize that to a certain extent is looking at things, and it feels like a lot of work on easement. What we like about this is, while it is important, while it's fundamental, it's helping liberate each other of any of those doubts and fears, because the more that you're able to feel that sense of confidence, we're almost seeing that in a way you're helping energy get over those moments of doubt. Masculine, removing the doubt from the feminine. Feminine, amplifying masculine's own ability to navigate difficult emotions. You're both doing this work right now. That's how this wheel is getting greased. And you're affirming in each other in each and every way that the reason that you're doing that is you're not trying to force someone into a direction. You're amplifying and reinforcing and helping someone navigate their own choices. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. This is that moment that feels like potentially a true breakthrough, because again, it's not even saying to a certain extent that you may even be feeling like you don't necessarily need to go anywhere. It's almost this moment of suddenly feeling like you found what you're looking for, because again, having some point where you've just found and experienced a breakthrough. It may feel a little interesting, because it's like, it's just the sense of wanting to bask in what you found. You know, it's that moment of wanting to just like slow down time or stop time, because you're like, where would I go? So again, it's that stop-start energy of feeling like, in a way, you've been liberated, but also it's that moment of feeling that amplification of being like, something feels different. I don't really feel like I want to go anywhere. I feel like I found what I've been looking for. So for the energy coming into this modality right now, that ability to feel the amplification of not only having a breakthrough, but someone saying, I'm staying with you through this. We're here together. Divine union. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This is feeling like a difficult moment. It's feeling like something is hitting a wall. Something is hitting an energetic wall right now, and it's amplifying someone needing to make a choice. But the choice is being amplified by someone saying, if you can't, this is energy saying, I'm not forcing your hand to make this choice. This isn't someone saying, do this or else. This is energy saying, we're either in alignment here or we're not. And if we're not in alignment, it's better that we are apart. It's better that we separate. And the ability to amplify that is the difference between creating an unhealed karmic journey versus saying, ultimately we wanted different things. Potentially energy right now looking at situations and saying, this is a stoppage point, because ultimately I looked at it and suddenly realized that we were moving in different ways. We wanted different things. The reason that things have not been going well is because what they wanted and what I wanted have been two different things, and they've been oppositional to each other instead of moving together. And recognizing that is helping energy right now free themselves to find what? Energy that isn't going to feel oppositional, that feels like it wants to merge, that it wants to align, that it wants to make things smoother. If you're constantly fighting with something, that you're going to move twice as slow. It's going to feel like you're not getting anywhere. So we see that a lot of energy here is just reaching that moment of understanding and releasing some things right now, but all for the sake of being able to stop what's starting to feel like a karmic wall that's being reached. And for a lot of the energy right now, if you are in separation because someone has asked something from you or someone has given you something and it created that space or place of, again, reactivity, running away, rejection, even now that observation point in one's own limitations is allowing for a point of healing, because observing something within the self that you can change allows you the ability to modify upon it. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is Queen of Swords in its reversal. One of the challenges that we're seeing right now, again, masculine energy in the divine union frequency is getting very, very protective over the feminine energy, because this is a masculine energy that's been helping feminine all this week with potential feelings of lack of doubt of self, of feminine that takes on the burdens of others. And even in experiencing that, feminine has gotten a better understanding of what may have put those things in the feminine. So again, this is almost masculine looking at a situation or circumstance wherein the feminine was like, putting a lot of blame on themselves. And this is masculine almost feeling that like aggressive wave, that over emotionality, and saying, oh, no, you didn't do this. I know exactly who did this. I've got perfect clarity on who I think did this, because this is in a way masculine feeling the full weight of, oh, no, you didn't do this. I know exactly who did this. I've got perfect clarity on who I think did this, because this is in a way masculine feeling the full weight of carrying karmic debt that wasn't yours, is making you look at spaces and reconsidering your own level of strength, because you may be feeling, in a way, recognizing that you've been carrying a burden that wasn't yours makes you kind of observant to feeling like you were more vulnerable than you may have thought you were. So even now for feminine, this is a hard thing to recognize, because again, this is feminine energy that like thought that they were feeling strong and confident by taking on that burden, but suddenly realizing like someone put that burden on you. Like there's a susceptibility point there. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. This is feminine energy still feeling that anxiety. Feminine's still going through a moment. This is masculine that's affirming this at this time. But this is feminine feeling the weight and anxiety of, again, this is energy that's just starting to build that trust in the connection. So even now, this is feminine feeling the anxiety and weight of feminine energy, of their own feminine energy, and potentially even recognizing energetically energy around the masculine, that they're still worried that the masculine may be somewhat susceptible to. So again, feminine at this moment is seeing the masculine affirming and recognizing things right now, but feminine is also feeling that added weight of feeling, to a certain extent, their own anxiety, both within themselves and also in relation to like the feminine energy that's potentially around partnerships right now. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Masculine in divine union right now, you may also be feeling like this, because again, even feminine articulating the fact that they've been susceptible in the past by energy that took advantage of them is amplifying your own anxiety, because you're, again, much like the energy of the masculine in the divine union, you're feeling that weight, you're feeling that connectiveness to this energy. You're also feeling that hyper intensification of a feminine that you feel is more vulnerable than the feminine really recognizes. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This is feminine, feeling very vulnerable in separation. This is feminine energy that is feeling very vulnerable in separation, because again, this is feminine energy that feels like they're being forced to release something that they don't want to release, but also feeling that they can't do anything they can't do anything else. And this is a feminine that feels like they would do anything possible to try to restore a connection, but they can't necessarily force it. While for masculine in separation, this is that moment of, again, feeling that desire of potentially moving towards a feminine, especially if you are open to them, but realizing that this is a feminine that can't handle what they're asking for. This is a feminine that says that they desire something, but then when they receive it, it's not what they want. They truly can handle. It also feels like it's creating an impossible situation for masculine. So all energy, and for the energy right now that's working through this, that like the masculine that wants to maintain autonomy, this is feeling to a certain extent that autonomy has kind of been ruined, because you're seeing the fact that it's deeply impacted a feminine. You're recognizing and seeing that that there's something that you're recognizing that you trying to move about in a harmless way is creating a sense of harm in feminine, potentially in a way that you haven't seen before. And even recognizing that it feels difficult, because there's almost an energy of almost saying, I'm seeing here, like, I want to hold on to my autonomy. I don't want to hurt anyone in the process. Feminine energy, if this was a moment that masculine brought forth truth to you, this is potentially something that you didn't necessarily realize that you would have such a reaction on. So even now, this is feminine trying to figure out how to, find that strength to navigate something, because there's something here about feminine feeling conflicted about how to proceed forward. That is our daily collective read for today. I'd like to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it with me. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber name at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I'm going to never DM you. I'm never going to PM you. I'm never going to slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I'd like to thank you guys so much for being here with me today and sharing with me in these messages. And we will do this again tomorrow.